Hey everyone, and welcome. This explainer was put together by Dr. Samir Al-Rashani. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that's honestly super important for any self-employed Canadian or business owner out there, your vehicle expenses.
So, we're talking about how you actually claim your car expenses with the Canada Revenue Agency. If you're using your personal car for work, there's a really good chance you might be leaving money on the table just by not claiming those expenses the right way. So, our goal today is simple. We're going to fix that. We're going to help you get a handle on this so you can make your claims with total confidence. All right, so let's get right to it. Here's the situation, right? You're driving your own car for business, but how in the world do you turn all those kilometers into real, actual, legit tax savings? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unlock today. We're going to show you the right way to do it so you can have total peace of mind when tax season rolls around. And we've got a super clear roadmap for you. First, we'll cover why you even need to track your driving. Then we'll jump into the 2 official logbook methods the CRA is cool with. We'll do a deep dive into the full logbook and then check out the simplified method. And to finish things off, we'll give you a must-have checklist of every single record you need to hang on to. Okay, first up, why all the fuss about tracking? It's actually pretty simple. The CRA says, sure, you can deduct your vehicle expenses, but, and this is a big but, only the part that's for earning your business income. And they're not just going to take your word for it, You've got to have proof. And that proof comes in 2 parts, a detailed logbook of your travel and all your receipts. Seriously, no logbook, no receipts, no deduction. It is absolutely that critical. So when it comes to proving it, the CRA basically gives you 2 official paths to go down. Think of it like a fork in the road. On one side, you've got the full logbook method. This is the all-in approach, detailed tracking every single year. It's as thorough as it gets. On the other side, you have the simplified logbook method. This one's a bit different. You do one really intense year of tracking, and after that, you can use a shorter sample period in the following years. It can be a huge time saver, but it's really meant for people whose driving habits don't change much. So, which one's for you? Let's figure that out. And that's really the core choice you've got to make. To help you decide which path to take, we're going to dig into the nitty-gritty of each one. So let's start with what the CRA basically considers the gold standard. And check this out. This quote from the CRA's own guidance says it all. You can't get much clearer than that, right? They're telling you straight up, a complete, accurate, year-long logbook is the best possible proof you can have. It just screams that what they're looking for is detail and consistency. And that leads us perfectly into the full logbook method. Think of it like a year-round driving journal for your business. I mean, you're basically committing to tracking every single business trip for the whole year. And yeah, I know, it sounds like a lot of work. But here's the thing. It gives you the most accurate and because of that, the most bulletproof claim you can possibly make. So what do you actually need to write down? It's simpler than you might think. For every single trip, you just need these 4 things. 1, the date. Easy enough. 2, the destination. And be specific here, okay? Don't just write downtown. Put the address or the client's name. 3, the purpose. And again, details matter. Meeting is kind of vague. Meeting with Jane Doe to sign the contract, now that's perfect. And finally, number 4, the exact kilometers you drove for that trip. But here's the deal, just logging the trips isn't enough. That's only part of the puzzle. To figure out your business use percentage, you need the total kilometers you drove all year for business and personal. So this part is absolutely critical. You have to write down your car's odometer reading on day 1 of your fiscal year and then again on the very last day. That gives you your total. Oh, and if you happen to switch cars during the year, you've got to record the date and the odometer readings for both the car you sold and the one you bought. Okay, so what if you're listening to this and thinking, my driving schedule is pretty boring, it's the same thing every week? Well, if that sounds like you, then the CRA has an alternative. This brings us to the simplified method. It's designed for exactly that situation, consistent driving patterns. Now, this whole simplified thing relies on one really important idea, the base year. To even use this method, you have to start by keeping a full 12-month logbook, just like the other method. You got to do it once, perfectly. The business use percentage you get from that year, let's say it's 49%, that becomes your official benchmark. It's your baseline for the years that follow. Think of it as a one-time investment for a whole lot of future convenience. And here's where that hard work pays off. Once you have that base year locked in, you don't have to keep a logbook for the full 12 months anymore in the following years. Instead, you just have to track everything for a 3-month sample period. From that little 3-month snapshot, the CRA can then project what your business use was for the whole year.
So how do they do that? How do they project the whole year from just 3 months? Well, it's all about this specific formula. It looks a little scary, but it's not so bad. You take the business percentage from your 3-month sample this year, and you divide it by the percentage from the exact same 3 months back in your base year. Then you just multiply that number by your total business percentage from your base year. That's it.
Let's make this super clear with an example. This is actually straight from the CRA. Okay, so in our base year, our total business driving was 49% for the whole year. And for the sample period of April to June in that base year, it was 46%. Now let's jump to this year. We only track April to June, and we find our business use was 51%. So we just plug those numbers into the formula. 51% divided by 46%, then multiply that by our base year's 49%, and boom. Our calculated business use for this year is 54%.
Okay, but hold on, there is one major catch, a really important rule. This whole simplified method only works if your driving is reasonably consistent. And how does the CRA define that? With this 10% rule. The final number you calculate, that 54% from our example, has to be within 10 percentage points of your base year number. So our base was 49%. That means our result has to be somewhere between 39% and 59%. And since 54% fits right in there, we're good to go. If it had been, say, 65%, that's too far off, and we'd have to start over and create a new base year. And one last super important point about keeping records. That original 12-month base year logbook, it's like gold. You have to keep it safe for 6 years. But here's the tricky part. It's 6 years from the end of the last tax year you use it. So let's say you use that same base year for 5 years straight. You've got to keep that original logbook for a total of 11 years. Yeah, a long time. So don't lose it. All right, so that's the two methods. Now for our last section, let's pull everything together into a simple checklist. This is your getting it all together guide so you know exactly what you need. So let's do a quick recap of the logbook itself. It doesn't matter which method you pick, your logbook has to have these things. Your odometer reading at the start of the year and the odometer reading at the end of the year. That's how you get your total kilometers. Then for every business trip, you need 4 things: date, destination, purpose, and kilometers. These are the absolute 100% non-negotiables.
Remember, the whole point of the logbook is to get that business use percentage. You then take that percentage and apply it to all your car expenses. So what can you claim? Well, pretty much everything you see here, as long as it's reasonable and, you guessed it, you have the receipt. We're talking fuel and electricity, insurance, registration, repairs, tires, and even your lease payments or the interest on your car loan. So I'll say it again, keep every single receipt.
So when all is said and done, it really boils down to this choice: the full logbook. It's a continuous effort every single year. This is going to be best for you if your business driving is all over the place. The simplified logbook, it's a big effort up front for that one base year, but way less work after that. This is the way to go if your business use is pretty consistent and predictable.
And that really brings us to the final question for you. You've got to look at your own work, your travel, and let's be honest, your own patience for keeping records. Which of these 2 valid CRA-approved methods is the right one for your business journey? Thinking about that and making a conscious choice, well, that's the very first step to totally mastering your vehicle expense claims.